Hello and welcome to the Country Music Social Media Sessions, and I'm delighted to have Russ and Heather Kitchen with us, otherwise known as Badlands as well. How are you guys?
We're good, thank you. Glad to be back out and gigging again, aren't we? After a bit of a delay, but yeah, it's all good. Things are good.
Yes,
Things are
I'm
good.
glad Heather's feeling a lot better because I understand you were very poorly, so you're doing all right.
I was having a miserable time for the last few weeks.
It's not fun, and then when you're singing as well. I mean, I've had it recently, and not as bad as you, but it's when you do this for a living or it's your love, your hobby. When something like that happens, it really can set you back, can't it? And then you've got to build your voice up again.
It's wild. The nurse that I spoke to last, she tried to do that. She was listening to my chest to see if I was getting oxygen in, and she's like, "Are you breathing?" And I went, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, you're not moving your lungs or your rib cage when you inhale." And apparently, I've been so tensed up about it hurts so much to breathe that I've not been moving any of my rib cage or. So I've been having to relearn how to breathe all the way in. Makes long notes a bit of a challenge, but you know.
But we're coming back to it, aren't we?
We'll get back to it. It's all good. Now you've got gigs going on at the moment. I've seen that you're doing quite a lot. So is this as Badlands or Russ, or because I know you join in your dad as well, don't you, Heather?
We tend to. We've got quite a few going about. If it's the band is the band, and we're sort of. It is what it is. I try to keep the two separate, but everything that's a duo gig is with myself and Heather. Then that's when the original stuff comes out to play. And we try and promote it that way. Badlands is a covers band, and it's been around, and we have a lot of fun with it. But as I say, it's separate to the original music, and we try and keep it that way, and have a lot more. It's a lot of fun performing as a duo, to be honest.
I do the same thing. I've got Helena Mace and I've got Rum Soaked, two separate things.
Yes.
One's a covers band. We do both originals in both, but I find it's nice to keep it separate. So what have you got coming up then, gig-wise? Because I've seen you've been quite busy. So now you're back on the road, hopefully.
We are, yeah. A couple of gigs this weekend just to try ourselves out. Last weekend to try ourselves out.
Last weekend, get back on the horse or the wagon or the bull or whichever rodeo term you like to use, I suppose.
We've got a quiet weekend this weekend, but I've got a bit of fun coming up. So I've got to pop to Liverpool. A guy called Mark Smith, who's a guitar builder. A bit of a surprise. He did put the B-bender in one of my guitars a couple of years ago. And he sort of rang me up and said, when I was there, we were talking about lap steel guitars and things like that, and how different they were. And obviously being left-handed, that it's just not something I can have a go. And he just rang me, sent me a message last week saying, "I built you one, Russ." So I've got to pop over to Liverpool and pick up a personalised left-handed lap steel guitar this weekend. So
now I'm worried that's going to make an appearance at gigs. So I need to be concerned.
Not for a long time.
Surprise!
But then after that, we're off and away. Festival season's here. We're at Tower Fest on next weekend, which is that's been going forever. We're then at another one which is local to us called Berkfest on the Sunday same weekend. Which is a brilliant charity event, runs every 2 years. And they're handing checks over for 15 and 20 grand to local charities after it. So it's a fantastic sort of situation. And then we get on the road and go a bit longer. We're off up to Scotland again early July, and I think we've got one in Leeds, a little Pure Country Festival in Leeds just before that. So they're coming fairly regularly at the moment. Yeah, so
that's good.
Yeah.
I love the summer season. It's always fun, the summer season, all the festivals and everyone seems so much happier, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's much more pleasant driving back at 2 o'clock in the morning in a dry summer evening rather than chucking it down with rain and snow.
Absolutely, yes. Well, we don't get snow down here, but yeah, okay.
Of course, yeah.
I think, are we lucky? I don't know. I would like to have at least one bit of it. So when I first met you, I think that was at Stoke. That was 2 years ago, believe it or not.
Is it really?
And I think it's the first time you'd actually performed your original stuff live, and I must say it was absolutely amazing. You would not have known for a start.
Thank you.
You should have done it a long time ago. Right?
I've been telling him.
Yeah,
I've been telling him years, and he wouldn't believe me.
It was incredible, and since then your music has gone down an absolute storm on the radio stations that we get airplay on. The Falling and also the Strongest Hands. Now I've written songs like that before where it's a very touchy, personal subject dear to your heart. How do you find performing that? Do you limit your performance of it, or do you try and do it quite a lot? Because it's hard to sing something that's means so much to you.
It is. To be honest, we now get asked for it.
We can't escape it.
Even to a point where, as I just said, I try and keep the Badlands music covers, but we get asked for that. So in the middle of the song, but we always perform it purely acoustic. There's no tracks, no anything with it. Just me and Heather and acoustic guitars. And I think it's always going to be a deep breath in before you start, and we do our level best not to look at each other while we're singing it until we get to the end. And then there's always there's always a deep breath and a little hug afterwards, isn't there? Just to
I don't know at what point I'm supposed to not cry while I'm playing it. But it just, every single time I'm having to turn around, just like hide my face for a minute, because otherwise I'm just going to completely lose it.
Yeah. But there's so much emotion in that song. It's just,
it really is.
When I heard it first time, you could have had a pin drop. Yeah, everyone took in every word. I'd actually just lost my stepdad when I heard that, literally a couple of weeks beforehand. So every word of that was just like, whoa. And it was just amazing. And it's nice for people to hear songs like that, because you were saying what other people feel and believe and haven't got they can't write like you can. And they haven't got power to put it into words, but you have. So many people are going to relate to that. And I think it's an incredible thing what you've done. And your other track, Falling, it's incredible. I mean, you've got a great video, which we're going to play at the end of this interview as well. Mm-hmm. So a little birdie tells me, i.e. you, that you're working on another album, a Rust Kitchen album, which we're very excited to get here at Country Music Social Media. So tell us a bit more.
A little bit more. It's obviously the first one was an ambition, and it took a long time to come out. But I don't know. Once I'd done it, I thought, okay, I can't stop now. Unfortunately, it's the sort of, I suppose my nature is what's next. It's always what's next. Always as soon as I've done something, it's what can I do that's better than the last one, or how do I improve myself? How do I improve myself and move on to the next one? So. I started with that, and had a real boost down at C2C in March this year. Because we got to play we got to play in the observatory on the Thursday night, which was just an absolute blast.
We were the startup party.
We were the starting party for it, and we got at one stage we got Stephen Wilson, Lauren. All
the people from Songwriters, obviously, they come down to where the pub is, and they were stood next to it. I turned to look out the window right before we did Before Retreats, and I could see them all stood to the side, and I just went, "Don't tell Dad." Don't tell Dad. Oh God.
Yeah. So we got about half an hour of the Nashville artists watching us, which were really quite incredible to look back. But
and then we started a conga that went around the O2 in preparation for Brad Paisley.
But it it motivated, and I wrote 4 songs that weekend.
Yeah, it does motivate you, doesn't
it? It really does. And for 2 years previous, I wrote Falling, sat in the lobby of C2C waiting to go in for the evening session. I just had it in my head, and there it was. And so
I say this every time. Was it after we'd seen Russell Dickerson?
It was just
he walked out. We were at Indigo. He wandered on out and went, "I'll be back in a bit." Came back half an hour later, and I'm like, "Where have you been?" He goes, "I've wrote a song."
And that was it.
At the country, it ended up just coming in a couple of years later.
Exactly. Absolutely brilliant. So
you higher up the ladder now onto the bigger stages, because that's the to play there is amazing anyway, isn't it? So
it is. But as I say, I've been on the sort of the club circuit, the cover circuit for years and years and years, and I've got to learn an entire new pathway.
Yeah,
that's really that's the ambition for next year. That and the album, and to deliver it. Probably in a more professional way maybe than I did this one, because I let the album come out in one hit, and I need to be a little bit wiser about how I deliver new music to try and get a bit more interest in it. Maybe than I did this time around.
We can have a chat about that as well. We can have a chat.
I think we will. Yeah.
PR session. Yeah. And Heather, we met at the Country Awards, didn't we, as well, and also in Stoke, and we had a chat about women in music, and how difficult it is. Now I'm quite a lot older than you, but I find it very difficult to get radio airplay for females. You're a lot younger, and you've obviously been for university you went to.
Yes.
And how did you find being probably one of the few females in music? It was hard.
Yeah. Well, when I went to uni, straight out of secondary school, I skipped a year to get straight onto the level 3 BTEC course. And at the start of the year, there were 3 girls. At the end of the year, there were 2. And that was in the entirety of the 60 across both classes, which was wild. I was also because the other girl, we had one singer, but she left. we had a keyboardist, but she was more into the production.
Yeah.
And then there was me, and I was the only other instrumentalist, and I was the only lead guitarist out of all of the initial 60 because the other guitarists all left. So they were just like, there was some rhythm players, some singers, 2 drummers, and then me and some bass players. So it was kind of a bit of a, the lads didn't have an option of trying to pal me out a little bit, because if they wanted to do all the ensemble stuff for the end of the year, we have to have a guitarist, and it's going to have to be me.
Yeah.
Because I've been in the music industry quite some time and seen lots of bands, and there's very few female guitarists, and you are amazing. You're a fantastic guitarist. Have you been playing a very long time? Since you were a little kid? Is it you're very influenced by your dad?
Yes.
I'll tell you a little story if I can, just for 2 seconds with that. It's when she came through. Heather she got a guitar. She wanted to play and do what we do. At the time, I was playing in a rock and blues band, like a Joe Bonamassa tribute band called Slow Gin, and we were playing and doing what we did. And she got the guitar. She didn't do an awful lot with it to start with, and then suddenly she wandered in one day and said, "Dad, I want to learn to play this," and it was the intro to a Muse song. So Matt Bellamy of all things, Plug-in Baby. Dad, I want to play this. So she put me right on the spot and said, "There you go." I had to sit and learn and transcribe this Plug-in Baby intro for her. Sent her away with it, and I thought, okay, that's going to go nowhere because that is ultra complicated.
Weird Phrygian thing.
Yeah, and then and about two or 3 days later, I'm wandering past the bedroom door. I heard it being played back to me. And I thought, okay, this is interesting, and then that's really what started it.
That was you taught me Smoke on the Water and Paranoid.
Yeah.
Then you taught me that.
Yeah.
And then the girls that I'd started a band with in secondary school were like, "We want to learn Backcountry by Avenged Sevenfold. You need it for next week or something." And I went, "You know what? I'll give it a bash." I did it. I was like,
So
30, I started at 13 or 14. That's how I've
right.
always done it, though.
Yeah.
It's chuck me in at deep end and see how
See how we do
manage.
it. Yeah.
But I started at like 13, 14.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So played for 15 years,
Well,
and for me, I won't go anywhere without it. To be quite honest, as far as I'm concerned, that's
15 years after I finished uni. I don't think I picked my guitar up for 3 of them.
Exactly.
I had to restart, and that's because I joined your band.
Yeah.
Where it was surprised. We've got 3 festival gigs this weekend, and you need to learn 60 songs
Absolutely.
tomorrow night.
That's how it came involved. But as far as I'm concerned, if I can be a platform for Heather, then that's absolutely what I want to be. That's wherever we go. That's the family's the family, isn't it?
It is. It's nice that you got that. Oh, and it's worked so well. Your dynamics are fantastic.
Thank you.
You pick up on the family. You've got the, I don't know, very authentic in the way you perform together as well. It's so lovely to have like father and daughter singing and performing together and writing songs and singing songs that obviously mean so much to you. Now you've been with us here at Country Music Social Media a couple of years now. So how are you finding it?
Really?
Okay. I'm fine.
It feels like 5 minutes. It really does.
You're okay with the experience. Everything's going okay. You're happy with everything.
I absolutely love it. Bizarrely, as a lead guitarist and a lead singer and a songwriter, I suppose a lot of people, I'm a little bit backward in coming forward. I'm kind of reticent to put myself out there a lot of the time, which is ridiculous. So it's like, but the online chats and the other bits and pieces that are going on, it's fabulous, and it's nice to be in that community. As I say, I'm not particularly not because I don't want to be, but more of a case of like, why would people want to hear me chipping in on this? The people that have been doing this for years and years and years, sort of thing. But I look at CMSM for me. It really is one of the best things I did. It's helping me find my feet. There's no doubt about that, and more besides. And it's a great support network.
Well, that's what we want. We want to be a support network. We don't want to be. We're not looking to get money out of people. Lots of money. We want to be a support network because we're all in this together, and we all know how hard it is. Everyone's at different stages. So
absolutely,
your input is quite welcome and valuable to everybody because everyone's either starting out, some aren't, some have been going for a long time, but some are.
It's a classic thing for me. There's an example. I think I wrote to Ken and yourself a couple of months ago now about offering some guitar services or something like that. If anybody needs any tracks or anything like that, which I've never put on there because it's like, well, I'm sure they'll all know somebody else anyway. Why would we want to do that? But that's just me not wanting to put it out there.
Yeah, but I mean, we can always, if you could put a little bio together and that, we can all send an email out on your behalf. That's not a problem. There are out there that don't play the guitar. Some don't have access to proper studios. Some just use backing tracks. You know, some would maybe like to learn a bit more. So yeah, any experience that you've got is valuable. We're all in this as a group together.
Absolutely.
So yes, and we'll chat later on.
Yeah, and it's growing as well, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is great. We've got some fantastic artists, and what I like about it is that no one seems to be in competition with each other because we're all in it. And we're taking on quite a lot of females now as well. We've got some nice, great country singers that are female, and they're getting radio play. And I'm trying to be, because I'm older, I'm trying to be a spokesperson for younger people coming into the business, and getting girls out there as well. So guys, I've got a couple of questions for you. Firstly, influences. Have you got influences when you were younger? I mean, obviously you've got your dad as an influence, but I see a lot of 80s and 70s classic rock in you. And what about you, Ross?
Yeah. Well, Heather got the 80s and the 80s classic rock and blues and stuff like that from me as well, unfortunately. But you know, it's weird for me. Country's like a full circle. Country music's a full circle because I think, and it's in my bio everywhere. The very earliest memories, part and parcel of my family, my extended family, they were big country fans. Mum and dad, not so much. They were more sort of Elvis and the old 50s, 60s rock and roll and that kind of thing. But when I was a lot younger, Mum used to listen to the old compilation albums, whole vinyl, of course, and she would put them on the old radiogram on a Sunday morning while she was doing the ironing, the cleaning, and that's when I started listening. I remember them now, the old things like old Roger Miller songs and King of the Road and you know, Glenn Campbell and that kind of thing, just while I was playing about and doing whatever. When I got to become a teenager, I rebelled and started getting into the rock and the metal, AC/DC, and you know, and the classic bands like Saxon and Iron Maiden, and then blues came along afterwards. And I'm just looking around around in the studio now. I'm looking around all the it's probably why my playing style is so varied, because I've got like Vince Gill, Marty Stewart, Johnny Cash. I've got Mark Knopfler, Eddie Van Halen. Joe Bonamassa, Angus Young, all sort of scattered around it, and
Jimi Hendrix
right behind me, and they've all had a real influence. One of the biggest influences actually is the producer of my album, Martin Smith, who once I'd learned to play guitar, taught me to play it, if that makes sense. You know, I got myself into it, and I went to him. He's a phenomenal player, and what he said to me was, and it's absolutely true, is if it sounds good, it is good. You know, so it doesn't have to have a label on it for me. You know, if it's good music and it sounds good and it sort of, no matter what it is, if it gets, it's good music and that's it. And so
that's what I've grown up with. I stand by that 100%.
Yeah, you know,
if it sounds, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure when it comes to music. If it sounds good, it is good.
I mean, I covered Elton John on my first album because he's one of my favorite tracks of all time.
And he's one of the best songwriters of all time.
Yeah, he's one of our national treasures for songs of songwriting.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah. I had a bit of excitement when he mentioned Iron Maiden, so I'm guessing you're down the 80s, 70s, 80s, bit of Led Zeppelin.
Oh man, rock and metal is really mad. 80s is my sort of passion. I did not get to see it, but I can pretend, and I'm pretending that it's 1984 at all times. It helped. It helps me cope with everything. There's nothing else, just 80s. But it's I like the metal, I like the rock. I love largely sort of glam rock, glam metal, and then stuff like Saxon, that new wave of British heavy metal that was new in the 70s, but I don't think it's considered new now, unfortunately. But like rock and metal in general is what I've listened to my whole life. So, and blues and country. I like to tell Dad that I listened to country before he told me to, because I grew up watching Disney films and I used to watch the Country Bears on repeat all the time. And it's reputable because John Hyatt was the singer on it, and it had Don Henley was in it, and Bonnie Raitt were in it, and they were all in it, and it's real music played by actual Nashville artists. So it is real country, and you can't tell me otherwise.
No, that's fair enough. You like what you like, and it was fantastic. That's you can see the influences. Definitely with Heather with the whole 80s classic rock. I mean, you've got style playing, but it's nice. I think you're right in the way that you say that everyone tries to pigeonhole people into certain boxes, into categories. But I like to be influenced by country music because it tells a story. I'm not a pure country artist. I'm influenced by it, and that's important. Some of my stuff's country, some of it isn't. I write what feels right. Yeah, and it seems to work for most people. So keep doing what you're doing because you're both incredible. So the album's coming out. Do you have any idea when? Are we still?
I don't. We're right at the beginning of the process. I mean,
Okay.
we're going to get held up because we're off to America, off to Nashville and Florida at the end of July for thick end of a month.
Yeah.
We're going to Nashville for a week, hoping to hook up with some people out there if I can make that happen. Then down for a working holiday down in Florida. I've got some friends out there, and so I'm already booked in for a couple of gigs with them while I'm there, so that'll be nice.
Does that mean we're not going to be playing at Disney?
No.
Country bears.
Might be.
Just saying. Oh, that's fantastic. Have a great time out there in Nashville. Yeah, keep us updated. Get some photographs.
Yeah, absolutely.
See how it goes. Yeah, it's lovely to talk to you today. And as soon as that album is ready or any singles, do get in touch. Me and Ken will be there. Yeah, Ken's pretty much 24/7 on that on Facebook Messenger.
I've noticed.
Works tirelessly through the night. I'm sure he never sleeps. I do sleep.
Yeah.
So I always get back to people in the morning. I like my sleep. So no, it's fantastic to talk to you. Yes, get it to us as soon as possible when everything's out, and obviously I'll speak to you again soon. So Russ and Heather Kitchen, thank you for joining us. Do check them out online. Check out Russ Kitchen Music and Badlands Duo for a good fun covers band. I've witnessed both and they're incredible. So I will speak to you very soon. Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Bye.
Front porch on a Friday night, red wine by candlelight, and counting the stars in the Milky Way. Things never felt so right. Looking at you, you were looking at me in the way you did back then. Smile in your eyes, it left me tongue-tied. I knew I had to see you again. Yeah. Didn't want to let you go, so I asked you for the dance. Next thing you wrapped in my arms, start of a life's romance. Head over heels, we're falling in love, it's crazier than I'd ever been. Look at you now on that warm summer night, the feeling starts over again. And I'm falling like a shooting star. I'm falling straight into your arms. I'm falling like I did back then. I'm falling up all over again. Slow dance in the moonlight, George Strait on the radio. Previewing while you're close to me, you seem like minutes ago. Right back to all the good times, right back to way back when. Even closer when the memories get me started all over again. And I'm falling like a shooting star. I'm falling straight into your arms. I'm falling like I did back then. I'm falling up all over again. First time I saw you, well, I knew my life would change. It felt so real, felt so real. Raise me up, I'm so in love, my fire and my flame. I still can't find the words for the way you make me feel. Falling, well, I'm falling. Come on. Well, I'm falling like a shooting star. I'm falling straight into